Imagine standing on the dusty, red plains of Mars, where the only sound is the thin wind whipping against the metallic frame of a lonely explorer. For decades, we have scanned the Martian horizon searching for any sign that we are not alone in the universe. And in May 2022, it seemed as though we finally found it. A single image transmitted back to Earth by the Curiosity Rover sent shockwaves through the internet, and the scientific community alike, because they're nestled into the side of a rocky slope, was what appeared to be a perfectly carved doorway. This rectangular opening looked so deliberate and so constructed that it immediately bypassed our logical centers and tapped straight into our sense of wonder, and perhaps a bit of existential dread. It looked like the entrance to a tomb or a secret underground base tucked away from the harsh radiation of the Martian surface. The edges appeared sharp, and the interior was shrouded in a pitch-black shadow that suggested a deep corridor leading into the heart of the mountain. As the image went, viral people began to speculate wildly about what could be hiding behind that stone portal. Was it built by an ancient civilization that long ago perished as the planet lost its atmosphere? Or perhaps it was evidence of a more recent occupation by beings who prefer to live beneath the red sands. However, when we zoom out and look at the actual context provided by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the narrative begins to shift from science fiction to fascinating geology. The first thing to understand about this doorway is its size, because photos of Mars can be incredibly deceptive without a human for scale. While the image makes it look like a grand entrance fit for a king, the reality is that the opening is only about 30 centimeters tall and 40 centimeters wide. This is roughly the size of a standard household pet door or a large shoebox. Unless the Martians are the size of small cats, this opening would not serve as a functional doorway for any humanoid being. Scientists from the Curiosity team were quick to point out that what we are seeing is a very common geological feature known as a shear fracture. To understand how this happens, we have to look at the history of the Gale crater, where Curiosity has been working for over a decade. This region is filled with sedimentary rock layers that were laid down billions of years ago when water still flowed across the surface. Over eons, these layers were buried and compressed, then eventually exposed again by the relentless Martian wind. The doorway is located on a mound called East Cliffs, where the rock is subjected to immense pressure and temperature swings. On Mars, the temperature can jump by 60 degrees Celsius in a single day, causing the rock to expand and contract. This thermal stress creates vertical cracks in the stone. When several of these cracks intersect at right angles, they can cause large rectangular blocks of stone to simply fall away from the cliff face. In the case of our secret doorway, a block of sandstone likely fell out, leaving behind a perfect rectangular void. The straight lines that look so artificial are actually just the natural cleavage planes of the rock. It is a testament to the power of nature to create geometry that mimics human architecture. Despite this scientific explanation, the public fascination with the doorway highlights a fascinating psychological phenomenon known as pareidolia. This is the tendency for the human brain to perceive meaningful images like faces or objects in random patterns. Our brains are hardwired to find patterns because, in our evolutionary past, missing a predator hiding in the grass was a fatal mistake. Today, that same instinct makes us see a man in the moon or a doorway on a Martian cliffside. This is not the first time Mars has played tricks on our eyes. Back in 1976, the Viking 1 orbiter captured an image of a region called Cydonia, which appeared to show a massive stone face staring up at the stars. For years, people believed it was a monument built by an alien race, until higher-resolution images from the Mars Global Surveyor in 2001 revealed it was just a regular hill with shadows in the right places. Since then, we have seen a floating spoon, a thigh bone, a metallic cylinder, and even a tiny humanoid figure, all of which turned out to be oddly shaped rocks. The doorway is just the latest entry in this long list of celestial illusions. But even if it is not a literal door, the discovery still tells us a lot about the planet's environment. The fact that such a clean break occurred suggests that Mars is still geologically active in its own way. The Mars InSight lander has detected hundreds of Marsquakes over the last few years, which prove that the planet is not a dead rock. These quakes can provide the necessary energy to trigger the collapse of rock blocks like the one that created the doorway. Furthermore, the shadows inside the opening play a huge role in the illusion. The Mastcam on the Curiosity Rover took the photo at a specific time of day when the sun was at an angle that cast a deep shadow inside the niche. This creates the appearance of depth, making it look like a tunnel, when in reality, it is likely just a shallow indentation a few inches deep. If the rover had taken the photo a few hours earlier or later, the lighting would have revealed the back wall of the fracture, and the mystery would have vanished instantly. The Mastcam itself is a marvel of engineering consisting of two camera systems that allow scientists to see Mars in high definition, and even in 3D. It is designed to help the rover navigate and to identify interesting rocks for further study. While the doorway was not a primary target for the mission, it provided a perfect opportunity for NASA to engage with the public and explain the complex geology of Mount Sharp. Mount Sharp is the 5-kilometer-high mountain at the center of Gale Crater, and its layers are like the pages of a history book. Each layer represents a different era in Martian history, from the wet and potentially habitable past to the dry and dusty present. By studying these fractures and rock falls, scientists can determine the strength of the rock and how it has been eroded over time. This information is vital for future human missions, because we need to know where it is safe to build habitats or where we might find natural shelters. While this specific doorway might be too small for a human, it does raise the question of whether larger caves or lava tubes exist on Mars that could provide protection from the sun's radiation. We know that Mars has massive volcanic regions like Tharsis, where giant lava tubes could potentially house entire cities underground. The secret doorway is a reminder that while we have explored a lot of Mars, there is still so much we do not know. Every time we send a new rover or take a higher resolution photo, we find something that challenges our understanding. The doorway captured the world's imagination because it represents the ultimate hope of space exploration, that we will find a sign of life or a message from another world. Even though science tells us it is just a rock, the feeling of wonder it inspired is real and important. It keeps us looking at the stars and pushing the boundaries of technology to get a better view. As Curiosity continues its climb up Mount Sharp, it will undoubtedly encounter more strange shapes and shadows. Each one will be scrutinized by thousands of people back on Earth looking for that definitive proof of companionship in the cosmos. The search for life on Mars is not just about finding microbes in the soil, it is also about the stories we tell ourselves when we look at the red planet. Whether it is a face in the sand or a door in a cliff, these images bridge the gap between cold scientific data and human curiosity. They make the distant world feel a little more familiar and a little more like home. In the end, the secret doorway on Mars might not lead to an alien treasure room, but it does lead us to a better understanding of the natural forces that shape our solar system. It reminds us that nature is a master architect capable of creating beauty and mystery in the most desolate places. As we prepare for the next generation of Mars missions, including the Mars Sample Return, we should remember the doorway as a symbol of the surprises that await us. Every rock has a story to tell if we are willing to look closely enough. The doorway is a chapter in the long history of Gale Crater, a story of water, wind, and time. While we may never walk through that specific portal, our curiosity has already taken us far beyond it. We are the explorers and the dreamers who see doors where others see stones. The red planet continues to beckon us with its mysteries, and we will continue to answer the call one photograph at a time. The doorway is closed for now, but the path to Mars is wider than ever before. We are moving closer to the day when humans will stand where Curiosity stood and see the doorway with their own eyes. On that day, the mystery will be solved, but the wonder of seeing a new world will remain as strong as ever. So the next time you see a strange shape in a photo of another planet, take a moment to appreciate the science behind it, but also allow yourself to wonder what if. Because it is that exact question that leads us to the greatest discoveries in human history. Mars is a world of shadows and light, and somewhere in that dance of photons and pixels, we find our place in the universe. The secret doorway is not a destination, but a waypoint on our journey to the stars.